This is your program, The Morning Show with Elton Jones, and a pleasant Tuesday for you. Today we're going to have a double whammy. We're going to have a double show. We start out in the Carnival's Fair, and then we'll go over to some politicking later. I have in the studio two guests today that need no introduction. I have on my immediate right, CALYPSO JACKCO, the King JACKCO. Sugar Jacks, as you all know him on radio. And further on my right, I have Genius, another former CALYPSO King. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Jones. I'm glad to be here on your good program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning, Elton, and good morning, Mama Pearl. It's a pleasure being on your program here this morning.
Well, welcome. We're going to get off talking about Carnival, but I need to I need to mention something before I get into the interview. Yesterday I got a call from somebody in the know, so irrefutable source, and they're telling me that the St. Martin Carnival Foundation is paying $250,000 to Marshall Montano for a show here. I have a problem with that because, first of all, I've been in the Carnival Committee for a number of years with different persons, and I know at that time it was not subsidized by government. This one is subsidized. So government has an interest in finding out what is happening with the taxpayers' money. Secondly, we also need to understand that these people who were criticizing the fact that a flag was being put on the hill for $150,000, that did not come from the taxpayer, knew exactly how many roofs could have been put back had they used that $150,000 differently. And at the time, it made sense because you're in an emergency situation and you should have looked more at helping people, so it made good sense. There's still close to 2,000 roofs that didn't get help, didn't get assistance, and I'm hearing no outcry now from what is being done by the Carnival Foundation and bringing in Marshall Montano. I guarantee you that not even in the United States he'll get this kind of money, and I don't know what we're trying to prove, but because the taxpayers put money in subsidizing this event, we need it to be investigated. We need to know from government if these people are living up to the subsidy regulation and reporting how money is spent, and we need to know also if we are willing to pay this to an outsider, shouldn't that be the norm also for local artists? That's as far as I'm willing to take it today, but it is astounding that people can demand this kind of money in my country, a country that's in the rebuilding stages, where we can't balance our budget, where we need liquidity support. We subsidize organizations who have a free hand to do as they wish with the taxpayers' money. Let's go, Jacko. Now, let's start here. Why is it CALYPSO, JACKCO, and Genius are not in the CALYPSO contest for the 50th anniversary, the golden anniversary of our carnival?
Well, in the beginning, what we was hearing is that they were going to have a big show, like a King of Kings show. We understood that was going to take place, and personally, I would participate in that. As I was ready to participate in that because that was what I was hearing, that they were going to do that. I understood Boncampa was going to be doing that, so I would take part in that. Even if I didn't take part in that, I would have released a song at least for the 50 years. But then this problem came up with the Calypsonians, and it's a funny feeling because, you know, before the carnival start, you already have problems. You already have problems with the carnival committee, and it's like the same thing over and over and over. You have to be fighting the carnival committee, and then you have to be writing songs and concentrating on what you're going to do. So I didn't think that was a good thing for me. I didn't really want to be involved in that.
Genius, what was really the problem that caused the boycott of some of the bigger names in CALYPSO?
Okay, they have a problem with the date given for the show. the show used to be mostly on Juve morning, leading to Juve morning. And they made a change, and we all know that Carnival is starting late for the date that they are accustomed of starting. We usually start like the 15th, but I think that we starting in the 20th of the month, something like that. And they happen to give the Calypsonians the 23rd or something like that. I think it's August Monday. And the Calypsonians...
Easter Monday.
Easter Monday. Yeah, sorry for that. Easter Monday. And the Calypsonians don't feel satisfied with that day. They feel that is a day that everybody is going out to the beaches and, you know, partying and everything. And with the sun and things so hot out there, when people get home in the evening, even though you might be thinking, I'm going to the show tonight, and you say, let me take a rest and I'm going to get up and go. When you catch yourself, it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So they feel that the show was going to be a drag out and they're not going to get the support that the Calypsonians usually get. And so they decide that this year they're going to pull a little string and see if they could get the Carnival Committee to change the date. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
I say there are meetings with the troop leaders and with the boot holders and stuff like that. I don't understand why this couldn't be a negotiated affair instead of a hand-me-down, fait accompli, this is what it is, take it or leave it. I think the Calypsonians contribute tremendously to Carnival, and I thought it could be thought out. We have made so many changes around Carnival in terms of Juve, moving it from where it usually was because people were too tired to go on the big parade after. That was an acceptable change, but we continue hacking away at everything. It seems to me, as an outsider, as one of those people who pay their $10 for the local show to go and watch Calypso, that they're trying to phase Calypso out. Seems like the push now is just to have soca, and there's no interest in really keeping the art form of Calypso in the village.
Yes, if you look at it, that's exactly what's happening. It first started with the juniors. The juniors is the root of the Calypso, because as the leaves and the branches get old and they fall off, the roots, start to produce new leaves. And we cut down the juniors. We don't have no juniors no more. When Barbara was there, at least she used to get a lot of the young guys and ladies together, and she used to teach them. And they cut that out, and then they tried to take over the youth show, the juniors. And after 2-3 years, they didn't get nowhere with that. It keep getting less and less every year. Eventually, they take it out completely, and now they're working on this, the seniors, because there was a show scheduled for the 23rd, or there is a show scheduled for the 23rd, and the Calypsonians have a disagreement with the date that was given, and no time they could get together with the Calypsonians and sit down and meet each other halfway. We was not getting that.
But it's so sad to see. I saw on Facebook yesterday they had a picture with Calypso Barbara and bigging her up and all that, but it's so strange. These are the same people that force out Barbara. They basically take everything from Barbara. They force out Barbara and take the junior Calypso competition from her and drive it right in the ground. So I don't understand why are they bigging her up now.
But that's the way it is. First, we do it with everything in St. Martin. We cut down the trees and name the streets after them. So it's a normal thing the way we do things. Get rid of you and then we honor you. The other thing I don't understand, from the time I've been tampering with singing, not Calypso though, we've been trying to make an association, a union and stuff like that. For one reason or another, it has never gotten going. These things, I believe, can be tempered if we had an organization that stood up for everything, because if that don't move, nothing will move. We have been unable since the 60s basically to come together and form a body that could defend us all. What is happening with that? Is those efforts still there?
Since this problem started with the Calypsonians, they're trying to get together and form a body. But I already see weakness in that. Because we had meetings, I think, 5 times already. I attend 4 of them. And right now it's like a stall. is not going anywhere. And I think that's one of the main problems, because way back, I could remember, even when I was not here, they did try to bring a body together, and they never get together, never had meetings or nothing, and it went nowhere. And we said, let's start a new thing, and let's get together and see exactly what we can do in order to make sure that the Calypso doesn't die. But I'm very kind of nervous where that's going to go, because I don't see where the potentials of getting that moving is.
But I think too also too that God rest and bless him, the mighty cat. People respect certain people. I don't know why, but Cat used to play a major role in that, and the Calypsonians used to listen to Cat. So he was one. He could have bring all the Calypsonians together, and he used to do that. From the time he passed away, nothing else was ever done. I think Rogers tried to do something at a time, but to get Calypsonians together, it's a rough thing. Sometimes you think they are their own enemy.
Yeah, because what I think too, instead of the Calypsonians themselves trying to make the organization or the body to represent, they should get guys like you, Mr. Elton, to come in and bring some people that really have the input or the likeness for Calypso and help us put the body together instead of the Calypsonian themselves.
I give you a political note, and I will take it into consideration. No, I was driving. I drive around sometime in the evening. I don't go to the night spots like before in the days where we had flight. That's when most days where I had to get JACKCO in,
Had to put on the jacket.
But I see most of these people have entertainment. They have live entertainment. They have little bars. The bands are not like we used to have 9-10 minutes, 3-piece, 4-piece. They do that. But none of the places that have this live entertainment use local guys. Now we have local guys that sing reggae, sing calypso, sing soul, anything, and they would like to get a gig too. And these things are permissible because we don't have an organization. I remember when I was a drummer for Rolling Stones, we went to Curacao to play in a carnival. And even though we were then part of the Netherlands Antilles, we couldn't play unless we played with a Curacao band, because it was not possible for a band to come from outside and get a gig just like that. We are showing this kind of disunity. And that's why this is happening, because nobody can get together for a cause. Should we or had we have an organization, and I can remember well also my good friend Tonka had tried that too, because he had a band, and it was important. But there's always somebody who finds it's not necessary. In the meanwhile, nobody that works in the industry, nobody that works in the music field is able to make a living out of it, because they're subjectively moved around. I remember I got a call one night from Dow from Tochi. He said, listen, we need to go down by Great Bay. At the time, Dow was at Great Bay for 20 years. And one night he came, and I told him, no, we don't need your services anymore. Just like that, just terminated like that. These things cannot be happening in a country. I mean, the people got to stand up for something. People cannot just treat you like that in your own country. And they moved out to bring in a Jamaican band. Now, I have nothing against Jamaicans, but I think I got to have first preference in this country. I don't understand why an outsider should get first preference over me. And I honestly believe it's because we're not together. And for some ungodly reason, we still can't get it together.
Well, I know that the artists are really not together. If, as Genius said, I had some meetings, but the more meetings you keep, you will see the less people show up. You will just see less and less and less and less people show up. They're just not together. Everybody, I mean, you have to get something done one these days, and you have to stand up for something someday.
Yeah, when I go around the islands, I always tell people, St. Martin is little New York in the Caribbean. When I go away, after a week or so, I'm anxious to get back to St. Martin. But when you go away, and if you really watch things, you don't, we're talking about entertainment. You don't see foreign bands. I go to St. Vincent. I don't see foreign bands entertaining at night. I see the local bands. You go to St. Kitts. You go to Antigua. You go around to the casino or those nightclubs in the night. It's those local calypsonians with a three-piece thing, and they are entertaining in the casino, around the hotels. As you go around Barbados, all is local people. Here is all the foreigners, the outside person is the preference. They get the first choice.
As you say, in Aruba or Curacao, you cannot go there and play unless you have bands from Aruba or Curacao involved in that particular show. Else you can't play.
You won't be able to play.
No way.
You're coming on as a guest artist.
And not only that, if you don't have no band from Aruba or Curacao involved, nobody will go to the playoff that you have. Nobody will
True.
go. And that's facts. I know this because I've been there a couple of times with Chapoting. So
Yeah.
I know.
Another thing I find very strange and show that people don't understand what a struggle is about. I talk to some Calypsonians when I'm sitting in town there by the parliament, our own parliament. And some of them tell you, boy,
Too.
we got a chance to win now. So, boy, this will be my good year. My thing is, when we used to have some festivals and so, you can't win unless you beat somebody who's in the rating. Who do you beat? So if you become king this year, what does it say? Who was in the competition? The big names are not there.
Right.
I have a problem with the selfishness of the people in wanting to win that way and not seeing the bigger picture, because if you permit them to treat you that way this year, this is your golden anniversary, what would you expect going down further? I honestly believe it was a golden opportunity for the Calypsonians to stick together and get the foundation to bend or to at least meet them halfway. I think it's very selfish, and honestly, I don't know what the turnout is going to be, because what is the attraction to come to the Calypso show now? Who are we going to listen to? There are no big names in it, really.
Mighty Pepper.
That's what I thought it should have been, really. That, okay, we have a misunderstanding between us, the committee and the Calypsonians, that they would get together. Even the Calypsonian who's singing would have realized that if they stick with the Calypsonians and there was no support, absolutely, we was going to get the committee at least to sit down and talk with us and respect us a little bit more. But when they can pull like 12 people, like Chipman and Pepper and my friend LT and those people, so those are new people that, okay, although Chipman and Pepper have the little crowd because there's humor, but they're not really the people that people want to come out there and hear good calypso from.
Listen, the Carnival, the SCDF, they just want that day to do the Calypso show. They want it early, and hey, let's get rid of that. That's behind our back now. And then they go about their normal business. That's the way. That's what they're doing. They just want to get rid of the Calypso show.
As an outsider, I think what I'm seeing is that they're trying to phase Carnival out, and soca becoming the thing, so that they spotlight in soca more. And if they could move Carnival out to the village, they move the eliminations, it will suit them fine. And I think the people who have promoted and believe in the art form has to do more than just accept and allow it to go on.
Yeah, because what I'm saying, right, if they want to do the international shows, change up the whole system of it, leave Carnival for somebody else, because Carnival is a cultural happening. Let's save the cultural part of it. And if you want to do your international shows, do it in June, July, just like the other islands does that.
That's what I can't understand. If these artists that they're bringing, the international artists, if they are so good, why don't you bring them in August? Bring them in September. If they are so good, they're going to pull a crowd any time of the year. And leave our Carnival the way it is. You bring them here in our Carnival to do what? That's why you call it a festival now. Because and if you really check what's going on with all the shows in the village, they basically belong to the Carnival committee.
Yeah. And Carnival should be a cultural thing. And if you really check the program, there are very few things on that program that is cultural, that is local. That's what Carnival is supposed to be. The time for you to, present your culture of your island. And if, instead of, in the years back, they used to have 1 or 2 international shows. But when you look at it now, international shows overpower everything. The most of the shows for the Carnival is international shows. That shouldn't be, because you kill the cultural part of it.
I think this discussion on having a summer festival move some of these international shows out and leave the cultural aspect, because I was making a joke with a lady yesterday. I said, for 50 years, everything is going to cost $50, and I wasn't too far off. If you look at what's happening now to get in the village, if you take a family of 4 to get in the village, then you already spent $200. You have to buy drinks, maybe buy a chicken leg, and so you need quite a budget to support these shows. It makes absolutely no sense to me. It's gone through the roof, so it should be taken away, the international part of it, and put in a summer festival. It will do good to attract people to the island in the off-season.
Exactly.
If these people are so good and they have such drawing power, they could have their own show at any time of the year. They don't have to be intrusive in the Carnival, and then we could get some number. What's happening now is absurd, and the prices are, really crazy.
Too many shows. There are too many shows that is $50 and $40.
But not only too many shows, some of the shows, like we have brought Cool in the Gang, and we brought in one other show, and so. But most of the shows I'm seeing now have nothing to do with Carnival.
Carnival, right.
They're shows that doesn't relate to Carnival at all.
We got hip hop this year.
Yeah.
We
Well,
got
that's a good
R&B.
music to jam around town.
R&B. It's not Carnival. It's the cultural part of it, and the whole thing of Carnival has been move away. And then we get into something else. And those things, because people are going to come out to those shows anyhow. You don't have to really pick Carnival to bring those shows.
Exactly.
The other thing is the SCDF has become a promoter now. From when we were in it, Tonka and myself, or Scott and myself, we had promoters who held these shows, and we had a deal with them, a 60-40 sharing point. It cost us nothing. They are doing it or something. Maybe that's the way to diversify. They feel they could raise more money. What boggles me is that they seem to always occur losses. So my thing is, how do you occur loss? And when we had it, talking the time with Mr. Scott and then with Tunka, there was no subsidy. We survive on doing it yourself and go there, look for sponsor, or you have to pay your way. But we incurred no debts. We paid off everybody. So I don't understand, if you have the shows and you have all these things, where are the debts coming from? How can you lose and it doesn't take anything out of your pocket? Because you start with a subsidy and you start with the bootholders.
Yeah, and in those days, you all didn't have all them boots neither.
No, not
and
that
the
much.
price of the boots wasn't, you got some boots in at $1,000.
Oh, it's ridiculous now.
So, I mean, with the start of the boots alone, you're supposed to have money.
Well, when we started, the first thing you do when the bootholders pay was pay GB, because you wanted GB to light you up on time.
One lights to
And
go
then
place.
for the rest of it, was prizes, and you had your sponsors. And so I remember once with Tonka, we started Carnival here at Madam Estate, because the businesses there wanted to sponsor, they wanted to bring attraction to their area. And I think that is the way to sell. People want to get the benefits of it. The businesses in Phillipsburg, they get all these people coming, they shop here and the thing, but you go ask them for a sponsorship and they start giving you this sad story about how the economy going and thing. I mean, they don't want to contribute nothing, but they only want to take the benefit for it. And I agreed with Tonka at the time, if you don't want to contribute, good, we don't go where contributions are. And that's the first time we took Carnival out of this area, go down.
Back in the days when you all was part of it, you used to get some good sponsors. You had like Maho, Mullet Bay, and all those big companies. Even Stores and Tongue was taking part. But when you look around, zero.
Yeah, but these
Zero.
guys, in those days, these guys used to do it for the love,
Oh,
of
right.
Carnival.
Right.
Today, I don't know if
It's a
it's
business.
the love or something else.
It's a business.
I know about the love. A lot of days I had to ask for a day off to go shovel mud. I can still remember standing in the village with a wheelbarrow shoveling mud because for some reason Carnival was brought rain.
Right.
And we had no paved ground, and the mud was this. You're shoveling all day, and boy, you're getting cussed all the time. The boothullers cuss you all day. But don't worry though. The night they call you for a drink, they tell you what they want, but they're on your side. Today, everything is ready-made, but I don't think they enjoyed it as much, and I think it's important to get corporate sponsorship. One of the things is, and I see this in sports also, these organizations like the SCDF is subsidized by government, but they go looking sponsorship. So when the Calypsonians or the Chupolas go looking sponsorship, they say, yeah, but we gave the committee already.
Yeah, but have nothing. We get nothing from it. Have no feedback.
You're not going to get nothing from it.
Yeah. And that's the trigger they use. Okay.
Even if they ain't give
Even
them,
if- right,
even if they ain't
exactly.
give them nothing,
Right, that's what they
they
tell
don't
you.
know already. That's
Yeah.
what they're going to tell you.
Yeah.
That's an every year
Okay,
thing.
they already give it to the
Okay,
carnival.
yeah.
That time they didn't even give them the carnival nothing.
But even though there's no Calypso show, or no, I mustn't say that, even though the big boys are not in the Calypso show, let's talk about the progress of the art form in St. Martin. How do you see it going? I mean, there was a time we were up to par with in the region with the St. Kitts, Antigua, and even some cases, Trinidad took some songs from here and had them redone and make hits with them.
Yeah.
So, but how do you see it going now?
No matter how you turn it, you have to have the big boys singing. Because I mean, if you look at the Calypso competition this year, I mean, what are you really going to tell me? Is this a Calypso competition? I mean, come on. Anybody who know about music know better than that. This is not a Calypso competition. This is a joke. If you don't have the big boys singing, Brett, all of those guys, then you don't have a Calypso competition. It's just a mockery. We make a mockery out of Calypso when we do this. I still can't understand why the Carnival Committee never sit down. Well, I don't know. They're saying that they did and this and that. I don't know why they never sit down and talk with the Calypsonians from Baker point. I see that they didn't talk to them, sit down and talk to them to try to change the date. They should have done that. At least give it a try and see what we're going. But it speaks for itself that, which I knew years ago, that they just want to get rid of Calypso, get it out of here.
Yeah, and I can't say at least this year I can't see no improvement because today is the 9th, right? And we're like 11 days away from Carnival
From the start, yeah.
and we haven't heard a Calypso on the radio apart from I having something out there, and I think Baker have something outside there. I think those who are singing,
Baker been singing
those
at people.
who are singing, they should already have the music out on the radio. Because all of this is what killing the Calypso, because the Calypsonians are waiting too late to really put the music out on the radio or put it out wherever it's supposed to be so it could be heard. And once you're not doing that, you know, I cannot say Calypso has improved and going good.
Well, not this year for sure.
Right.
Not this year for sure. If you got so much top Calypsonians out, you could never have a good Calypso show.
Yeah. But what I also say, even though the Calypsonians are not singing for the 50th anniversary, not because we have a misunderstanding with the committee, Calypsonians should have the music out there still.
So bad people are kind of spoiled. When you come up, growing up in this country, you could expect 1 or 2 albums per year from the Mighty Sparrow. So Martin people are still asking, why is it we only hear our Calypsonians when Carnival come around? Is that the only time we feel we can be productive? Why can't we produce albums or songs in the rest of the year? There are enough things happening and there are enough events that a good artist can be able to portray it in song for the people.
Yeah, I would say that I think there's a little not discouragement into that. Is because after Carnival, not even after Carnival, after the competition. You don't hear none of the local music on the radio. They put you aside before Carnival is finished. So I got a Calypsonian feel to go out there and to put some music on the radio. It takes finance, money, in order to do that. And to give it to the radio and you're not going to be hearing it, it doesn't make sense. Because Calypso locally is not played on the radio stations.
Jugay?
Yeah, well, as Genius say, right after the Carnival, but I must say this too. The Calypsonians, they have to change this whole thing. They have to start making international songs. You just can't be making a song about, let's say, the government, St. Martin government. And as soon as the Calypso competition finishes, it's going to die right there in the back of the Carnival village. Because where is it going to play? They're not listen, you can make an international song with St. Martin involved in it. It will get airplay outside. But if you don't do that, you just continue making songs for St. Martin alone to win a St. Martin crown, that's the way it's going to be. They have to, it's time enough that change. Time enough that change, or else the Calypso will remain the same thing. Dead right behind the village as soon as the competition is finished.
I remember in the 80s, I was in Europe and I heard a song on the radio. Or something. It was Brett, Africa's for the Africans.
The parents are not
Africa for the Africans.
African song, yeah.
It was played everywhere. Then I went to a air traffic control conference in Mexico, and St. Martin Rumba was the hottest song in Mexico at that time.
Yeah.
So we have the capacity to produce at the international level, but we're not doing it for some reason or the other. We're just not getting it out there. And the writers are more into the political commentary, which is good, but you can do it differently. I listened to Devon Seeley. Devon Seeley, he sings political commentary, but the song could be used in any country because it's generic to what happens in the Caribbean.
Right, exactly.
Look at Gypsy song, the Sinking Ship.
Yep.
It's a
It
song.
connect all over.
Yeah.
Anywhere you could play
Anywhere you
that. He
could
won
play
the crown with that. But it's an international song. You could play that anywhere.
Anywhere.
This is what I am trying to say, that type of song. But if you continue to just make a song on Mama's Paul, you understand? Just Mama's Paul, because it's all about the crown, you know.
Yeah.
I want to win the crown. But after you're done winning that crown, the song finished. Nobody's not playing that song anymore. And that is a main problem. They have to change that system. They have to, or else Calypso will remain right in St. Martin and don't go no further.
The royalties, and I know you recorded with Dakota sometime and stuff like that in the past. You were with the big boys. Professor Dakota. Yeah. How do you go in St. Martin in the, because I remember, especially the rumba was playing, everybody adopted to a different style and thing. It was St. Martin rumba, but I don't think a lot of royalties were paid on it. We didn't have exclusive rights, so we didn't do that. How do we go by getting those things to protect the local artist? It is intellectual property under the new rules.
You have to do that, but I think there's a company in Trinidad. It costs some money. You could do it online too. You can do it on the internet too, but it costs some money to put your songs, what you call it, in the royalty.
Royalties, yeah.
I was checking it out online.
There's organizations.
There's an organization in Trinidad too.
In New York also, yeah. Connected with organization in England, because I was connected with them, is connected with them. And I get some small royalties sometime for some of my songs and things that I have out there. And there's royalty paid for some songs that I have that goes to Clarence Derby because he's the writer.
Yeah.
He get the royalties. So I'm connected with that. When I used to live in New York, Dow song played a whole lot on the radio, the Spanish radio station, but not with Dow singing it, with the Spanish guys
they
singing
changed it up a lot of ways.
And I walk in with people from like Guatemala, and Nicaragua and those places down there. And I tell them, I said, this is a song from my country. I said, I know the guy, everything, but they said, no, they can't. They said, no, sir. They're calling the Spanish guy who sang it, that's his song. I said, no, that's from my country. And then, that's me argument between them all day, because this song used to play a whole lot.
Rumor was really hot.
Yeah.
Now we have to get these things done. We're gonna queue up for the listeners one of your songs. Let the listeners listen and have their own opinion. You're not in the competition, but that doesn't mean we can't contribute to the festival.
Of course, it's a pleasure listening to you gentlemen talk. It's so inspiration, lots of inspiration there. Anyway, we're going to go to the music. Let's see if we can start. You have a wonderful new song, which is called Celebration?
Celebrate.
50,
yeah.
Okay, great. We will be getting to that. We also have the return of the cock. That's that's from the King JACKCO. And but let's see, as we know that we are celebrating 50 years, let's see if we can powder up you gentlemen with some of the older ones coming forward towards you guys.
Let's unite together as one, and let us show the whole Caribbean and Martin people living in unity. Yes, sir. I had a neighbor, she had a donkey. The neighbor's ass was Jenny. I had a neighbor, she had a donkey. Her ass was really funny. So one day she sent and called me to tie out the ass for she. I leave my business, walk to her home. She begged me to ride on she ass alone. So every morning you should see me when I'm riding Jenny's ass. Lucky we be in this country. No place without is from overseas. I look at it over and over. It's like St. Martin don't have no entertainer. So I'm asking you, Mr. Promoter.
are sick and are fed up. They calling politicians corrupt. Them people so social, like they never keep their apple dull. Criticizers obsessed, they used to suck government breasts. St. Martin, me granny keep asking, what the state of the union is our status changing? Boy, tell me how the process going. Are we making some progress? Or politicians fight? Well, I couldn't lie to me granny. The whole process is like comedy. All I'm applying plenty pressure since they lock up. Ooh. So every cook in civil servant and it. Now the culture is coming down, wondering who's next and when the time gonna come. St. Martin, are you ready? Tell me, are we ready? Take a look in the mirror and face reality. This journey is full with embarrassment. Warn them already or coming back? Who tell them to mess with King JACKCO? You know already I don't give up. The children are mess with JACKCO. 2008 when I hit the stage, it sent the whole audience in a rage. I tried everything they have in this world, but I couldn't get my fall back under control. He picking left and he picking right. Who's can't get him stopped? So him kick the false at the bite. The cock wouldn't drop. He picking left and he picking right. He make Momo in the head. If you see how Crack was running, the cock nearly kill him dead.
In 2019 it going to be thunder. People going to sit back and wonder at the 50th anniversary of Carnival. Because it's the golden jubilee, we gonna run riot in the city, especially as we look back through the interval. From the first Carnival Queen and the CALYPSO King, when the action was down in cul-de-sac. 1969, people like Lexi, Wally and Jocelyn put St. Martin Carnival on the right track. Celebrate, it's the 50th anniversary. Let's rejoice with the poets and artisans. Every mass man, Calypsonian, raise a rhythm and let me spread some joy in the land. We French neighbors, Vinny, come on over to it. We have no borders, no way, not in Carnival. There'll be a big fest, yes, they'll never see it, yes, they'll never forget. This here Bacchanal.
rally from all the stages. Certain men help to turn the pages as we witness a changing of the old guard. Men like Frank, Keith and Celeste, Frank or Arnold Scott did their best. Adults and children parades we also had. For the Queen's birthday, that was a grand celebration. Donkey races and more traditional games. Calypsonians and groups from them other islands came up to St. Martin just to make a name. So celebrate, it's the 50th anniversary. Let's rejoice with we poets and artisans. Every mass man, Calypsonians, raise a rhythm and let me spread some joy in the land. Tell we French neighbors, venez, to come on over, jouer. We have no borders, no way, nothing carnival. Will be a big fest, yes, they'll never see it, yes, they'll never forget. This year Bacchanal. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. As the evolution continue, Carnival Village it expand to Zouk, Latin reggae, all became a part. In the 90s we saw the Juve leave the village and hit the roadway. The big blast of the road march that warmed the heart. Michael, Tunka, Fabiana and La Vega. Also Cat Greg, Tall Boy and Fernando who passed on. We pay respect to all stalwarts of our culture as we jump and whine in this golden celebration. Celebrate, it's the 50th anniversary. Let's rejoice with the poets and artisans. Every mass man, Calypsonian, raise a rhythm and let me spread some joy in the land. Every French neighbors, venez, to come on over, jouer. We have no borders, no way, nothing carnival. Be a big fest, yes, they'll never see it, yes, they'll never forget. This year Bacchanal. So here we are in 2019, what a vibration, what a grand scene. I have survived through it, blood, sweat and tears. Still standing like a colossus, I'm yours respectfully, genius. Going strong after more than 44 plus years. With men like Granger, Stewart and also Alston. Whether soca, Latin, Zouk, comedy or reggae. We thank you for your patronage, but we ain't done. Protest or not, my music will be on display. So celebrate, it's the 50th anniversary. Let's rejoice with the poets and artisans. Every mass man, Calypsonians, raise a rhythm and let me spread some joy in the land. Tell we French neighbors, venez, come on over, jouer. We have no borders, no way, nothing's carnival. Will be a big fest, yes, they'll never see it, yes, they'll never forget. This year Bacchanal, oh.
Getting a look back, a flashback to what it was 50 years ago, closing it off with Genius in his presentation for this year. Even though he won't be taking part, he's made a contribution to 50 years of the carnival. But I want to ask Genius something here. I had JACKCO on this already, and he couldn't tell me. Genius, when was the fire in Phillipsburg? You came with a song 75 on that.
Okay.
When was the fire?
You want the year or the date?
The date.
Wow, Jacko called me on that day.
I have it, I have a book with St. Martin,
Yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
And it's in the book.
Of course, it's in the book.
The problem is I couldn't find the book.
But to be honest, I couldn't give him the
But I have the
answer.
book home.
I couldn't give him the answer because the date, I don't have it exact. But the year was 1974.
Yeah, because 75 you came with a song afterwards.
Exactly.
It was the 12th of August,
Oh,
74.
the 12th of August.
74.
Okay. I couldn't help you, Jacko, sorry.
Because I figured I got it faster. To go look for that book, I got so much confusion there. To go look for that book, I didn't know where to start.
Which book?
I know which book it is. I have a St. Martin book, and I know it's in there for sure. I used to do quizzes with it. But since I haven't been, if I used to be on the radio like before,
Yeah, you don't know, put your hand on it.
it would have been right there so in my bag. But so long I wasn't on the radio that I don't know where it is now.
So, gentlemen, 50 years, where do you see Carnival going? And more importantly, what's going to happen to the Calypso art form going forward?
Well, Carnival itself is not Carnival anymore because we take away from it. We take away from it, and it's more like a festival type of thing. It's more like international. The way I see it is in all type of international shows, and we should have that more down into June, July. Carnival itself has died a little. I hope that we can, realize what we're doing to with the damage that we did to Carnival, and put it and try to sit down and organize it and bring it back together. Forget about the big money making. Let's try to hold on to the cultural part of it.
I don't know if that can ever happen again because as you say, that money, that money is a funny thing. So it's difficult to see it coming back to what we would like it to come back to. Sometimes I saw them breaking down the village from years ago. They had a picture on Facebook how to break down the village and build it back.
Build it back up.
I mean, that was so beautiful. I mean, I say we have to go back to that, but but I think they should the big artists again to me. I'm not saying you got to change the Carnival committee, but you need people with a different mindset if you really want to get back the Carnival the way it is.
And Calypso
the way it used to be.
And Calypso itself, where is Calypso going now? You didn't answer my question on, our competitiveness now.
Well, a lot of people say Calypso died. Calypso can't die. Me and you can die before Calypso.
Well, I know so, but I hope not.
I can't
Locally
see.
is like a
The-
rocking ship.
the
One year is
problem-
good, the next year is down. 1 year up, next year down.
The problem with
This
Calypso,
year-
they have to change what they're doing. You understand? Because the people are not really into this. If you check Devon Seals, and those other guys, Brian London, and those guys, you check Kurt Allen, you see how they sing Calypso? A complete different styling. And that's the way you have to, this chingling. People really, I think that's what really killing the Calypso. It's going through a phase now, and you have to join it.
Right. Give it a beat too, because
Yeah, give it a little
this
beat.
drag out thing,
The
people just
drag
sitting down
and people-
and after a while they get tired.
The young people
start to
ain't
fall
going for
asleep.
that drag out thing. That's the first thing they're telling you.
Okay, gentlemen, Calypso Jacko, genius, I want to thank you for being on the program. This is the first hour of my double whammy. Thank you very much, and I wish you a lot of success. I hope I see you in the village. We could share a drink, water, or beer.
You know how you do it.
Thanks very much for having me on your program. I appreciate it very much. Looking forward whenever you need me again to come.
Very well. And I
Thank
have
you
to
very
come by
much.
for those cake, huh?
Oh, good. Nice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones, for being on your program, and keep the good work up, you and Mr. Pearl.
Thank you. Okay, guys, it's a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the morning show, and this is the first part of the double whammy for Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday. And now I have another guest in the house who needs no introduction, really. So today we'll be talking with Member of Parliament, former Prime Minister, William Marlin will be in the house, and we'll be talking about how the country running and other things affecting this country going forward.